labels at fabulous prices.
At Designer Week, you'll find the latest in career and casual clothing at unbelievable savings.
That looks so expensive. Thank you. Thank Designer Week at Ross. And you can do it too.
Designer Week at Ross. Don't miss it.
Secrets of Star Documents and Celebrity Millionaire. XDT.
Hold on to your wallet. Health insurance premiums are soaring. Your paycheck could soon be lighter. About face. Why the government now says don't break up Microsoft. Friends and neighbors. Bush and Fox. The pressure builds to try to solve the Mexican immigration problem. And Eye on America, placing a bet on the net, a potentially dangerous explosion of gambling online.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather reporting from CBS News headquarters in New York.
Good evening. The latest sticker shock on employer-provided health insurance is likely to leave you stuck with a bigger share of the premiums. A study out today says premiums that companies pay took their biggest jump this year since 1992. And given the overall sluggish economy, this comes as most businesses are looking for ways to cut costs. CBS News correspondent Jim Axelrod has more about how this may affect millions of Americans.
Looking for a ray of hope in a gloomy economy? Forget D.L. Miller & Sons. They build gas stations in Columbus, Ohio, and just heard price estimates for next year's health insurance.
The agent that represents us, and I've heard it from more than one company, to say expect more next year, actually up to 30% increase.
D.L. Miller's story is a common one nationwide, according to a new survey done in part by the Kaiser Family Foundation.
There's no good news in this study. It's pretty much bad news and worse news.
For employers, the price of providing health insurance is up 11% in the last year, the biggest jump in nearly a decade. The smallest businesses are seeing the largest increases, 16.5% on average.
And a year ago, we were standing here saying that more employers were offering health insurance, workers were paying less for it, and now we're saying exactly the opposite.
The number one culprit, according to the employers surveyed, prescription drug prices that travel a one-way street in the fast lane.
Drug costs are the fastest rising part of the healthcare system, going up at almost 20% a year.
The most troubling part of the survey for employees may also be the least surprising. They can count on sharing more of the load. 75% of big businesses say they'll likely raise employees' co-payments next year. In Columbus, one small business owner is worried about a lot more than that.
If it keeps on going up, we could end up inevitably maybe shutting our doors. I mean, if the costs drive us out of business.
Most of the employers said for now, they see no cutbacks in the level of benefits offered over the last few years. Health insurance for domestic partners, trips to the acupuncturist, that sort of thing. But tonight, it does seem to be a fair question. How long will that last? Dan?
Jim Axelrod, thanks. Several other new studies published today put a different take on the soaring cost of prescription drugs. The researchers say these drugs actually save money in the long run because they mean fewer and shorter hospital stays. For instance, clot-busting drugs cost about $1,000 a year compared to $100,000 a year to care for a patient disabled by a severe stroke. A new administration, a new strategy for dealing with Microsoft's abuse of its monopoly power in the computer software industry. The Bush Justice Department said today it will still seek penalties against Microsoft, but not the one the company feared most, an outright breakup. CBS's Jim Stewart has more about this turnaround and what's behind it.
In plain language, Bill Gates walked away a winner today. After 4 years of bruising legal battles, the Justice Department said it's had enough and will no longer seek the breakup of Microsoft, the software company Gates created whose products run much of the world's computers. Instead, as approved by Attorney General John Ashcroft, the government will now seek to end its historic antitrust case against Microsoft as soon as possible. That means the government will no longer seek to split Microsoft into two companies and would not pursue allegations that Microsoft had illegally bundled some of its products to hurt competitors. However, with Microsoft celebrating the release of its new operating system called Windows XP, the Justice Department said it would seek to enforce an earlier court ruling that ordered Microsoft to stop pushing around computer manufacturers who didn't want the whole Microsoft product on their machines. And that, say analysts, will make Microsoft rethink how it treats competitors.
Microsoft has certainly thrown its weight around. It's a big, tough company, and it's got the ability to act as the playground bully. And to some extent, this court will put Microsoft on a shorter leash.
Lawyers for Microsoft's smaller competitors, however, say it's a case of the Justice Department caving in.
They've unilaterally disarmed. They've given up their biggest weapon, which is the threat of a breakup. And a decade from now, we'll see the department still fighting with Microsoft, and Congress will have to step in.
Justice Department officials say they did this because they thought a lengthy court fight was not good for consumers. We do not view this as a retreat, said one official. But when that same official was asked if he thought breaking up the giant company was a fight they'd simply never win, his reply was no comment. Jim Stewart, CBS News at the Justice Department.
Looking at the lingering gloom on Wall Street from a positive perspective, stocks were on sale today. The Dow 30 marked down 192 points. Prices on the NASDAQ were cut 53 points. The bad news today included Motorola's warning that sales are flat. The company is cutting 2,000 more jobs. One problem for some U.S. companies is the strength of the U.S. dollar. Anthony Mason has more about our mighty money and what's wrong with strong on the Market Watch.
From the small town of Yankton, South Dakota, the Morgan Manufacturing Company ships all over the world.
This is one of the machines that we started into the export market with.
Among its products, conveyor belts for concrete. But suddenly, says Marlon Slagle, Morgan's export business has been slashed in half.
It's off 52% in the first 7 months of this year. This can be attributed to the high value of the dollar.
The U.S. dollar has soared to near a 15-year high against foreign currencies. Against the German mark, for example, it's up nearly 60% since 1995.
This is the kind of unit we're really getting hurt on.
For Slagle, whose biggest competitors are German, that means his rivals' truck-mounted concrete pumps are now much cheaper in German marks. His business has been clobbered.
We have been clobbered, yes.
He's not alone. The mighty greenback is under attack by American manufacturers, from General Motors to Gillette. Major corporations are complaining a strong dollar is strangling profits and stifling exports. Shipping containers coming in full are no longer going out that way.
So we are putting more empty containers on the vessel, and from a business standpoint, we certainly don't want to be carrying empties. We want those full containers on the ships.
But President Bush backs a strong dollar, so did President Clinton, and economists argue that policy helped fuel the economic boom.
One of the reasons why the stock market had been doing so well for so many years, one of the reasons why interest rates are as low as they are, is because foreign capital has been flowing in here.
Marlon Slagle knows a strong dollar attracts foreign investment.
And don't get me wrong, that's not all bad, but it hurts our own people here.
Morgan has had to cut its staff in half.
I've been here almost 40 years and never seen anything like this before.
In the boom, it may have been the economy's friend, but in this slump, exporters say the strong dollar is stifling any hope of a recovery. Anthony Mason, CBS News, New York.
On Capitol Hill, another big step today toward normal U.S. trade with the former enemy, Vietnam. The House voted to remove trade barriers. The Senate is expected to go along and make it final. President Bush and Mexico's visiting president, Vicente Fox, plan to dine together in Washington tonight after a quick trip to Toledo, Ohio. Fox told the U.S. Congress today about his plan for revamping the two countries' immigration policies. But as White House correspondent John Roberts reports, there is stiff opposition on Capitol Hill.
In an extraordinary presentation to a joint meeting of Congress this morning, Mexican President Vicente Fox pressed the case for a massive and immediate overhaul of immigration, seeking resident status for the 3 million Mexicans living illegally in the United States.
Regularization does not mean rewarding those who break the law.
President Bush today promised a maximum effort to find a solution to the problem of undocumented workers, illegal border crossings, and so-called coyotes, smugglers who traffic in human cargo, often with deadly results. But today, Mr. Bush cautioned it is a complex issue that cannot be solved easily or quickly.
And we're trying to work through a formula that will not penalize the person who's chosen the legal route and at the same time recognizes the contribution the undocumented has made.
There's an enormous political component to this state visit, and President Bush didn't miss a beat today, parading his close friendship with Fox before Ohio's growing Mexican-American population.
Today I come bringing a special visitor, un amigo de mío y también un amigo de los Estados Unidos.
Both leaders stand to gain from the relationship. Mr. Bush by connecting with Hispanic voters, crucial to his re-election bid. Fox through presidential support for his priorities of trade and immigration reform. While Democrats today said they favor a solution to the migration issue by the end of this year, as Fox has urged President Bush, they oppose any agreement that gives special status to Mexican immigrants. And members of his own party today warned Mr. Bush not to undermine a strong immigration policy just to win votes.
I don't think winning elections is worth weakening our nation's security and prosperity.
President Bush favors some sort of guest worker program that might eventually allow illegal immigrants to apply for a green card. But any plan has to go through Congress, and right now, there are plenty of skeptics on Capitol Hill. Dan?
John Roberts at the White House. On his domestic economic agenda, President Bush said again today, the answer is no to using Social Security surpluses to pay for education and other popular budget items. But a veteran Republican on the Senate Budget Committee, New Mexico's Pete Domenici, broke ranks and said there is no harm in dipping into the Social Security surplus. The Bush administration today ignored a deadline set by congressional investigators and refused to turn over the names of business executives and lobbyists who met with the Cheney Energy Policy Task Force. The investigators may now try to get a court order for the documents. Next here on CBS Eye on America, the lure of Las Vegas coming to a computer near you. Will families pay the price?
Out here, I'm in command. So am I supposed to say, slow down, guys, I'm constipated? I don't think so. You try to eat right. Sometimes you can't. Harsh chemical laxatives, they can kick in whenever and wherever. Not an option. So I rely on doctor-recommended Metamucil. It's got 100% natural fiber. Works with my body, gently, which is important to a sensitive guy like myself.
Metamucil, the doctor's natural choice for regularity.
Abner, we're rich.
We're rich?
It's our new litter. It's got diamonds in it.
You are mistaken, my friends. The diamonds are odor-absorbing crystals in new Tidy Cats Crystals Blend.
Whatever.
New Tidy Cats Crystals Blend.
I ate Quaker oatmeal for 30 days. They tell me it actually works to remove cholesterol from your body. Pulls it right out. Helped clip my cholesterol 15 points. That's a whole bunch. Quaker oatmeal warms you heart and soul.
I ate Quaker oatmeal for 30 days. It actually works to remove cholesterol from your body. Sucks it right out. Help lower my cholesterol 10 points.
That's even more than I bargained for.
Quaker oatmeal warms you heart and soul.
Presenting the unshakable confidence of the best holding C-Bond denture adhesive ever. New C-Bond denture adhesive. A unique comfort-thin seal with 3 powerful adhesives holds your dentures comfortably all day. C-Bond. No ooze, no mess like creams. Easy cleanup. The best holding C-Bond ever.
The long jump. The dash. Life is like a sport, and your feet take the impact hard. But new Stride Guard insoles absorb 50% more heel impact than these Dr. Scholl's. Take more impact in stride. New Stride Guard insoles.
The pain was awful. I was missing my own party. The pain got so bad I wanted to lie down, but it just got worse. Then I rediscovered a real lifesaver, Extra Strength Bayer Aspirin. Nothing's proven stronger than Extra Strength Bayer on tough pain, not even the leading prescription. It's real relief I can depend on. And my doctor said Original Strength Aspirin can help save your life by protecting your heart. Beautiful.
Bayer. Take it for pain, take it for life.
The Census Bureau reported today that well over half the country's 105 million households now have computers, and more than 40% have access to the internet. Growing numbers of Americans are using the internet to gamble. This includes children. In tonight's Eye on America, CBS's Sandra Hughes reports, for better or worse, the virtual doors are now swinging open on virtual casinos.
From the slots to the tables, gamblers may soon be able to bet everything Las Vegas has to offer without going near a casino. Nevada has become the first state ever to legalize internet gambling. Already armed with a Play for Fun website, the MGM Grand Casino is counting the days until it can cash in.
The public has already shown a great appetite for this kind of entertainment product. Our hope is to be able to provide it for them in a fun and exciting way, but also in a way that's responsible.
For years, the big casinos fought the legalization of internet gambling, but the stakes have been raised. Gamblers now wager more than $1 billion online, and Las Vegas wants a piece of the action. Action controlled now by thousands of largely unregulated sites. Most are headquartered offshore to skirt what many considered an ironclad federal law. But earlier this year, a Louisiana judge dealt Nevada its lucky break.
He said, internet gambling does not violate any federal law unless it's sports betting. Well, the Nevada legislature heard about that and instantly said, great, we then will legalize internet gambling except sports betting.
The law passed this summer, but the final technical details are being left to the state's Gaming Commission, which is holding hearings to make sure it can all be done by the book.
We should not place any person, particularly a parent or a grandparent, in the position where we enter their home uninvited. Nor should we leave the gaming door open to minors or others who shouldn't participate.
Trouble is, anyone with a computer can play. Only about half the states ban internet gambling, but even in those states, the laws are rarely enforced.
The people who are getting involved in internet gambling view this, the big legitimate operators view this as the next television.
Critics say it's far more insidious than TV, since the games are played in private and go so fast, losses can build quickly. Fred Marino knows that firsthand.
I lost a couple $1,000s the first night, and I thought, how am I going to explain this to my wife? And so I started chasing my money. Well, next thing I knew it was 4,000 and then 8,000. Just kept growing, growing, growing.
Until he lost his home and his marriage. The Nevada casinos promise fair games, monitored to prevent compulsive gambling. Still, many worry that legalizing online gambling will legitimize games that make it far too easy for people to lose everything.
Place your bets, ladies and gentlemen, place your bets.
In Las Vegas, this is Sandra Hughes for Eye on America.
A federal appeals court in San Francisco has added a new category to the rights of prison inmates, the right to parenthood. Ruling 2-1, the court said even though William Gerber's sentence did not allow conjugal visits with his wife, he could still sue for the right to father a child with her through artificial insemination.
Like many busy moms, Veronica spends a lot of time in her minivan. With kids, it's a way of life, but it could also be trouble.
What's it going to take somebody to die from not being able to get out of the car?
What you need to know and why dozens of drivers have complained. An Eye on America investigation tomorrow on the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
When I started having hot flashes and night sweats at menopause, my doctor recommended hormone replacement therapy, but I didn't listen.
Up to 20% of a woman's expected lifetime bone loss occurs in the years following menopause.
A year later, I went back to my doctor and found I'd shrunk an inch. I went on HRT, and I've been on it for years. My hot flashes and night sweats, gone. I feel great.
HRT is not for all women. Talk to your doctor about the benefits and risks.
The time to protect your future is now.
9 Lives introduces something completely new. What's new, Pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa.
New? What's new? I hope she knows.
Look, Morris, it's new 9 Lives gourmet meals.
Pussycat, I love you. And new 9 Lives shows you do.
Introducing new 9 Lives gourmet meals. More gourmet meat for more gourmet taste.
Pussycat, I love you. They all love me.
New 9 Lives gourmet meals. More gourmet meat for more gourmet taste.
For cool cats like moi.
Lots of places offer upgrades. Usually you spend a little more, you get a little more. But in Gateway Country, it's different. You get a lot more. And right now, it's free. When you buy a Gateway Essential 950C featuring the Intel Celeron processor, you get an extra large monitor plus a CD burner. That's 2 big upgrades, all for just $7.99. Now, who could beat that? Who'd even try? Offer ends September 9th, so stop by or call today.
Tens of thousands of people continue to purchase new Oldsmobiles. Is it because of our special cashback offers? Or the 5-year, 60,000-mile GM protection plan? Or did they simply take a test drive? Are you in the market? Get in an Oldsmobile, backed by GM. And for a limited time, qualified buyers can get 0.9% APR financing.
What is possible? Does achievement discriminate? Or does it open its doors to everyone?
The CBS Weather Watch shows some welcome news from the western wildfire front. Firefighters are making excellent progress. They're down to fighting a dozen large fires now in 6 states. And thick fog, high humidity, and heavy rain are helping them get a handle on the worst fire in and around Montana's Glacier National Park. Turning overseas now, Israel's foreign minister said today he will discuss a possible ceasefire with Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat in a meeting next week. For now, the attack and revenge cycle goes on. 2 Palestinians were killed today when Israeli helicopters blasted their vehicle in the West Bank. And hours later, inside Israel, a Palestinian ambush killed an Israeli soldier and wounded another. Tonight, Israel's cabinet took up a proposal to create a buffer zone to try to stop cross-border attacks. CBS's David Hawkins reports some want even stronger dividing lines.
If good fences make good neighbors, then perhaps nowhere else is a good fence needed more than between Palestinians and Israelis. It's an idea that's gaining popularity in Israel as a way to keep out terrorists. There already are fences and trenches and roadblocks separating Palestinians and Israelis, but most of the ill-defined border is undefended. Just 100 yards to either side of this checkpoint, Palestinians cross freely on foot.
Setting a fence is the only concrete answer.
Former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak was one of the first to suggest what he calls unilateral separation.
It's almost imperative in order to avoid the situation that emerged in Belfast or Bosnia of 2 communities bleeding into each other for centuries.
The problem is where to draw the line. Israeli settlements are so interspersed throughout Palestinian territory that a border around them all would be too long to defend. And evacuating Jewish settlements, even those deep inside the territories, is politically impossible, at least for now. It's seen as retreat under fire.
It will not happen because those of us who are not ready to pay the price for peace, which means to dismantle dozens of settlements, will not pay it for no peace.
Any Israeli-defined border that doesn't take Palestinian claims into account, say its critics, will only make matters worse.
If these borders are not the old 67 borders, the world will not recognize it. The Palestinians will not recognize it.
Building a fortress is a defensive strategy as old as history. For modern Israel, though, the dilemma is how to keep the enemy out without fencing itself in. David Hawkins, CBS News, Bethlehem.
In Afghanistan, the Taliban leadership had chilling words today for 2 Americans and 6 other foreign aid workers on trial for allegedly preaching Christianity. A recent decree called for expelling foreigners who promote religious aspects other than Islam. But a Taliban official said that does not apply to the 8 now on trial, and Afghans who violate the same law can be executed. In France today, members of a secretive cult compared the government's demolition of a huge statue of their founder to the Taliban's destruction of ancient Buddhas in Afghanistan. The French statue destroyed today was just 8 years old. Local officials say the cult didn't have a permit for it, and besides, they say, it was ugly.
unexpected bills or mounting credit card debt? Log on to Ditech.com or call 1-800-71-FIXED and apply for a second mortgage with Ditech's no closing cost option. With a second mortgage, you may be able to consolidate your high interest debts into one low monthly payment. It's smart money from Ditech.com. Apply online or call us at 1-800-71-FIXED right now.
The Heartburn Hotel. If you suffer persistent heartburn 2 days a week or more, despite diet change and treatment, it may be acid reflux disease. Prescription Prevacid can mean 24-hour relief from acid reflux disease. Prevacid turns off tiny pumps that produce acid. It has a low occurrence of side effects, such as diarrhea, abdominal pain, and nausea. Ask your doctor if Prevacid is right for you.
So leave your heartburn behind,
Now, the same Caltrate that helps fight bone loss may help your colon too. In a recent study, Caltrate helped reduce the risk of recurrence of colon polyps, a risk factor for colon cancer. The same Caltrate you take for your bones, now for colon health too.
Your eyes need nutrition as well as the rest of your body, so Centrum and Centrum Silver added lutein to help maintain your precious sight. Now your eyes, your toes, and everything in between are covered by Centrum and Centrum Silver. More complete from Ada Zinc.
You're looking for a home. You're searching. There are questions. Where do you start? You can search over 1.3 million current home listings. Click on to Realtor.com. Check info on schools and financing. Even take a virtual tour. And when you're ready, you can click and connect with a realtor. Realtor.com. It's the place to start when you start looking for a home.
Is your small business experiencing growing pains? The U.S. Postal Service has tools to help your small business manage shipping costs. Whether your packages are big or small, domestic or international, the U.S. Postal Service, helping small business to deliver the American dream.
Is the new director of the Port of Portland qualified for the job? You'll meet him tonight at 6.
In our evening news in notes, a whale of a problem for an 8-ton actor. Keiko, the killer whale who played the title role in Free Willy, just doesn't seem interested in going free himself. So the people who've been trying to reintroduce him into the wild in Iceland have given up. They're now looking for a new permanent home for him. Finding home was no problem for San Francisco Giants slugger Barry Bonds today. He pounded his 60th home run of the season. Bonds has 22 more games to get the 11 homers he needs to break Mark McGwire's 3-year-old record. And from fireworks on the field to fireballs in the sky, early risers all along the East Coast today were greeted by what seemed to be a giant meteor. It turned out to be an old Russian space rocket, burning itself up on its final plunge after 26 years in orbit. And that's part of our world tonight. I'll be back later this evening with 48 Hours. Erin Moriarty has a preview.
28-year-old Kristen Kupka walked out of this house almost 3 years ago and disappeared. Her sister thinks she knows what happened. Is someone getting away with murder? Rudy, did you kill Kristen Kupka? Tonight on 48 Hours.
We invite you to join us at 8, 7 Central for 48 Hours. And at the usual time tomorrow for the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. Have a good evening.
For news 24 hours a day, CBS.com on the internet and on our interactive partner, America Online, at keyword CBS News.